Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Third time trying to record this video, so bear with me if I seem a little bit irritated or irated or frustrated. But starting off with today's Chelsea news today video. Olivier Giroud extended his contract by 1 year the other day. I was going to make a confirmation video on it, on the confirmation of Olivier Giroud, Thomas Tuchel and Thiago Silva's contract extensions all being extended, which is very good news, especially Tuchel and Thiago Silva. But it didn't end up getting around to making a quick video about it, which was a shame. But Olivier Giroud, his contract, it has been extended for an extra year, but it turns out it wasn't particularly him that had the decision. It seems more like that Chelsea activated a 1 year extension that was already put in his contract a while ago, and Olivier Giroud isn't particularly happy that Chelsea did this. And there were stories going about saying that he had agreed contract terms with AC Milan and he was all ready to join them, but he has hinted that he could still leave Chelsea despite the contract extension 3 days ago. In his words in an interview, he said, "I want to make it clear that Chelsea reactivated the clause in April and they recently announced it to comply with the Premier League rules. It's fair to remember that I liked Milan legends Marco van Basten and Andrei Shevchenko. Milan are a big club and one of the great teams in Europe, but today I will not talk about my future at the club because I'm focused on the France team and the Euros, which is fast approaching." Now, what does this mean? Basically, he will be playing with France at the Euros. And it did seem like there were a lot of stories going around.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you repeat what you said?
This happens every video, I swear. And there were stories going around saying that Olivier Giroud had actually agreed contract terms with AC Milan and it looked like he was close to having a deal. But then out of nowhere, he extended a contract. So, not too sure what's going on there, but I can see the reason Chelsea did extend it was maybe they thought that they could get £5 million, £6 million for the Frenchman, 34 years old, but still a lethal finisher. Maybe maybe the club want to keep him for an extra year, or they thought that they could get a little bit of money for him. But it looks like AC Milan aren't really willing to pay any money at all for the veteran, despite him still being in great clinical form. The fact that they have Zlatan Ibrahimovic is good enough for them. Now, secondly, one of Chelsea's bright academy talents has now left the club. Another one, with a transfer to West Ham now agreed, it literally got announced not very long ago, about an hour ago. West Ham have signed 19-year-old midfielder Pierre-Edouard from Chelsea. Now, I don't really know much about this guy, but it seems like Pierre-Edouard is a midfielder with a varied skill set, and much was hoped from him when Chelsea snapped him up from Nantes in 2018, paying £1.8 million in the process. Pierre hasn't progressed towards the first team as quickly as hoped, so moving him on to a club where he's more likely to get a chance seems a smart move for both parties. Sky Sports reporting it as a done deal, while others are just saying that a fee has been agreed. Injuries have been a real killer for him, with just 12 appearances in the last 2 years. Hopefully he can now put this behind him. It's clear how much we will be paid by West Ham, who had the midfielder on trial before, but it's unlikely to match the sum we paid initially. So this guy is a 19-year-old, he's part of the academy, he's not been able to play much because of injuries. Seems like Chelsea are kind of giving up. Hopefully he can progress his career forwards and it won't get like blocked or like stunted by him having injuries or not being able to break into Chelsea's first team. And he'd rather just go to a move to another Premier League club, London rival in West Ham. Now, we've seen how well Declan Rice came through the academy at West Ham, joined him at the age of 15, and he's now their captain, one of the best midfielders in Europe, personally. And he'd cost way above £18 million if he had to leave West Ham. I guess he's hoping to become a bit like Declan Rice, break into the first team, I don't know, maybe one day get the captain's armband, but he will learn a lot behind the likes of Mark Noble. And West Ham do have quite an exciting academy as well as Chelsea. So good luck, Pierre. Thirdly, this is a very interesting story on Saul. Now, Chelsea and Manchester United and Bayern Munich are all interested in Saul, or they know how much of a good player he is for the Rocky Blancos. That means the red and whites. If you don't know, I speak Spanish perfectly. Not. But Saul is determined to part ways with Atletico Madrid this summer. Now, reports have previously stated that the midfielder had a £129 million release clause in his contract, but with a deal expiring in 2026, the club would accept an offer worth around €80 million or £69 million. However, Marca now claim those figures are ridiculous and believe a fee around £40 million or €45 million is much more realistic. Now, if Saul is costing £70 million, I'm sorry, but I don't want him. He's a very good player. He's a good midfielder. He doesn't really work in Diego Simeone's system. He would definitely thrive in Thomas Tuchel's system personally, whoever system he's playing in, as long as it's not Atletico Madrid or Burnley. I think he'd be pretty good. However, yeah, I'd take him at Chelsea, but £80 million or £70 million is a lot. However, there are reports, according to, let me find it, according to a report, a report by Mundo Deportivo via Sport Witness, it is actually Chelsea who have made the first move about Saul. The Blues have supposedly made initial contacts over a deal, but there is no further information on their pursuit. However, the Spanish newspaper reports that Atletico have dropped their demands for Saul's exit, and he could cost £70 million or 40. He did not make it into Spain's Euro 2020 squad, with Marcus Llorente among the midfielders picked instead of him, which is interesting. He didn't get into Spain's squad, but he would apparently cost £70 million. If he's £70 million, then it's a no-no for sure. I don't want him. But £40 million, I think he could be a bargain. He's an absolute baller. He is still pretty young, 25, 26. He's not even reached his prime. And the fact that he'd have a good 5 years in Chelsea colours, I'd be very happy with, personally. But like I said, Mundo adds that in the last few hours, several parties are interested. Chelsea, PSG, Juventus and Bayern Munich. But Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel's side are in the picture to sign him, and the Champions League winners have already asked about him. That's about the only information Mundo mentions about Chelsea in today's report. So it looks like if anyone was to sign Saul, it would be Chelsea. At the moment, Chelsea are probably leading the race to sign the Spaniard, but £70 million, if that is what he costs, it's either 70 or 40. 70 is a bit steep, 40 is acceptable. Now lastly, Chelsea have been in contact with Erling Haaland's representative over a possibility of a summer move to Stamford Bridge. According to reports, the 20-year-old is one of the most prolific strikers in Europe, blah blah blah, since joining from Borussia Dortmund from Red Bull Salzburg, blah blah blah, in January last year, blah. Haaland has scored 57 goals from 59 appearances, and the missing piece in Chelsea's whole squad is a striker that scored goals. We need someone to finish off the chances. Goals win games. Simple goals win games. But if you don't score goals, then you're not going to win games, which is sometimes the problem with Thomas Tuchel's side. Timo Werner misses a lot of opportunities. Kai Havertz can miss a few. He did miss one against Man City? No, it was Arsenal. It was Arsenal. When we lost to Arsenal, he missed in about 5 minutes. That was frustrating. Oh yeah, I put this up, by the way. I've had this for a while. I've just had it that side of the camera, but I decided to move it over here. And the strikers on Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea and Roman Abramovich's shortlist are Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, Romelu Lukaku, Robert Lewandowski, but the most likely one was Romelu Lukaku until the deal got called off. Lukaku doesn't want to leave Inter. Inter don't want to sell him anymore. So Harry Kane and Erling Haaland are the two that Chelsea have focused their attention towards, with Erling Haaland now at the top of their list. And Chelsea have apparently already held talks with the German heavyweights in order to establish the likelihood of a move, according to transfer expert Christoph Thurer. It is claimed that Dortmund have asked for a fee of £154 million in order to part ways with their star man, a request that Blues owner Roman Abramovich is reportedly prepared to oblige. Now, what does that tell us? And what am I going to tell you? My opinion, Erling Haaland could be going to Chelsea. According to this transfer expert, Christoph Thurer, Chelsea held talks with Dortmund asking how likely a deal would cost, or how much it would cost, how likely a move would be. They're like £154 million, and we're good. Thinking that Chelsea would turn it down. No way, £154 million, we're not paying that. But Roman, he's only gone and bought a €175 million plane the other day. Pretty much the Air Force One plane. Show you it here. It's a nice plane. He can afford that amount of money. He can afford to buy Erling Haaland for £154 million. And although we could get him half the price next summer, he'd rather spend that money this summer and buy the missing piece in Chelsea's team. 20 years of age, Erling Haaland. £154 million. Now, like I said, I don't know how true this is, how fake this is, but it is interesting for sure. Chelsea to sign Erling Haaland, £154 million. It's not the most expensive player ever, but it's close to it. Only £40 million off. But tell me your thoughts on any of these stories, especially the last two. I thought they're very interesting indeed. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. I've actually hit quite a few views in the last few videos. So if you are new around here, which is quite likely, subscribe please. We've gained so many subscribers recently. But if you are new around here, please like it, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much for watching. And goodbye. Goodbye.